In Riccaboni, and I'm going to open some wrestling stuff. Kind of. Received this large box today. It came from New Jersey from a man named Zorro Mendez, and I read an article on CNN about how millennials use Zillow to daydream and window shop because they can't afford houses. I use Zorro Mendez's page to daydream about wrestling figures that I did not have when I was growing up. What we're about to open is something that's a first for me, at least since 1991. It's from the LJN line, which started in 1985, Wrestling Superstars. They were hard rubber. The first line contained 5 figures: Jimmy Snuka, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Big John Studd, and I believe Roddy Piper, but I'll have to check back on that one. So what's interesting about these are these are heavy. The box is pretty big because I also bought a acrylic cover to contain it. These can get pretty pricey, but I found a great deal on it, and we'll show you who I got. So it's already packaged nicely. I bought things from Zorro Mendez before on Instagram, and everything was top notch, but I bought loose LJNs. And the first LJN I ever got was actually mint on card. It was Series 6. Now, Series 6 was only released in Canada, so that's an anomaly, right? But the wrestling magazines were selling, final sale, final stock of these LJN figures as the line ended. And it went from LJN to Grand Toys in Canada, who produced and finished the last line. There were 6 total series, and the figure that I'm getting today came out in 1988, and it comes from Series 5. One of the largest wrestlers to get an LJN figure. And unlike 1991, when I opened the LJN figures from their package, which are now worth thousands of dollars on their packages and only hundreds off of them, I will be keeping this one on card. So I'm opening wrestling stuff in the sense that I'm opening this box. I will not be unboxing the wrestling figure you're about to see. Now this could be anything. I mean, it feels pretty heavy. It feels like action figures in here. My wife Sarah gave me the okay when I was direct messaging Zorro Mendez, and then direct messaging Marty Scurll and Zack Ryder whether or not this was a good price. And they gave me the green light. It was such a momentous occasion. I decided to wear this nice jacket, and we'll see what we got. So already, Zorro Mendez, an A+ seller because he doesn't use many packing peanuts. The packing peanuts are a pain in the butt. No packing peanuts here. Well, one. He gave one. This appears to be the figure first. So this appears to be the acrylic case. I'm going to keep the acrylic case to the side. We don't really need to see that. Series 5 came out in 1988. It's one of the more popular sets because it has some of the more colorful characters. A lot of WrestleMania 4's roster is found on that set, including Honky Tonk Man, Bam Bam Bigelow, Johnny V, who was not at WrestleMania 4, is in that set. And of course, Ted DiBiase, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and the man you're about to see. Now the problem with this set, and the reason I got this one mint on card, is because this set in particular is susceptible to heavy chipping. And that doesn't seem like a huge problem until you consider that the base of the skin of the wrestler, for instance, Ted DiBiase, who has an all-black outfit with purple trim, the base of the skin underneath that is black. So if you chip his nose, chip his ear, chip his hand, suddenly you have a figure that doesn't display really well, doesn't look really well. The same could be said about the Honky Tonk Man, who has a blue Elvis jumpsuit and red trim. And when you chip that, when you chip his face, when you chip his hands, he is then blue. This figure is the same in that he chips, and when his skin chips, he turns from the best figure in the set to one of the most gnarly. So that was actually a lesson they learned, despite pretty much ending the line in Series 6. They actually went back to the all one-tone, they went away from the all one-tone skin and paint over. From everything I've heard, the set was particularly difficult to find. It seems like this had a limited run, not as limited as the Series 6 black card figures. But from what I understand, very tough to find in stores. A lot of the folks I've talked to said they found this really at stores like Ames, Zayres, Hills, Bradley's, Caldor. Not many people I know found these at Toys R Us. So that's also an interesting note. It kind of tells you that, you know, the LJN line itself was on life support. LJN would move very quickly into video games around this time. And as the anticipation builds, this is what you got to buy from Zorro Mendez. You pay a premium for the condition of the figure, but he packages it so well that you're all but guaranteed to get the figure in the condition you paid for. And I'll say this, I've been looking for this particular figure, I've been watching this particular figure. While it may seem expensive, the price was cheaper than eBay, and it was from a seller that I knew and trusted, and that guys like Zach Ryder and Marty Skrull know and trust as well. So I'm going to open this up. This is amazing. So this is the One Man Gang. One Man Gang made his WWF debut in 1987. He would compete in the 1988 WrestleMania 4 tournament to crown the world champion. He would be in the first Royal Rumble. He'd be in the first Survivor Series. Very, very memorable figure. I've never seen this mint on card before, and it's pretty cool to have one. In '91, like I said, my mom ordered Haku, Rick Rude, Big Boss Man, and the Warlord from the Wrestling Ring catalog. So I have opened LJNs before, but and have had mint on card LJNs, but it's been 29 years since then. The One Man Gang's got a lot of cool detail. He's got piping on the pants. He's got skull and crossbones on his arms like you would normally have. He's got the signature mohawk. He's got the great facial expression. At a time when they were hand sculpting the face molds, this is spot on and it's incredible. And if you could take a look at his nose would be the primary factor in chipping. So the One Man Gang's interesting because loose mint copies often can go for 70% to 80% of what a mint on card copy would go for, because he's that hard to get. Same with Bam Bam Bigelow, same with Honky Tonk Man, same with Hacksaw Duggan, Ted DiBiase, to get without the chipping. Because when I say the slightest of touches would scrape some of that skin off, it's true, and they turn out to be pretty beat up looking, even if it's just a minor scratch. The cool thing about the LJNs, they come with a poster. They have a little name tag here, and this is what's interesting to me. On the top left, you'll see Grand Toys. Grand Toys was the company that bought LJN, or at least their toy division, and started to pipe these out. So if you notice, it says Poster de Hulk Hogan. This is in French, obviously, and this is obviously not Hulk Hogan. At the end of the line, it was speculated that the One Man Gang and his set, anything that did not have cards printed and ready to go, and posters printed and ready to go. One of the cool things about the LJN line, they all came with posters. It was speculated that they just got these out the door and put them on Hulk Hogan carding. That includes the card back. Each of the LJN wrestlers would have a nice little name card. Now, the set with One Man Gang, with Bam Bam Bigelow, with Honky Tonk Man, and so on, their cards and posters are particularly difficult to find. Guys like Tom Zank are some of the most difficult, and some of the singles of the tag teams like Bret Hart, Jim Neidhart, and the Bulldogs are also difficult. But with One Man Gang, it's interesting. The poster goes for quite a bit. The card back goes for a little bit. But really, it's kind of a toss-up which one is more valuable on card, because really it's kind of half and half, it feels like, of ones with the One Man Gang poster and ones with the Hogan poster. So this is really, really cool. It's really mint. I don't see any of the creasing. Sometimes there's some of the big creasing, a little bit of creasing here, but otherwise the bubble is flawless. The tricky part, and the reason I bought the acrylic case with these, if you buy some of the heavier figures, specifically King Kong Bundy, One Man Gang, Bam Bam Bigelow, and those types of figures, they're so heavy and the adhesive is so light that they have a tendency to pull off the bubble. So I bought an acrylic case over there. I'll be putting them in there, and he'll be sitting on the fireplace, hopefully during some Ring of Honor updates. I want to thank everybody for this, joining us for the spontaneous edition of Ian Riccaboni Kind of Opens Wrestling Stuff. Hope you learned a little bit about the LJN line. And if you got some time, go on iTunes, check out Last Stop Penn Station, my new podcast with the great Kerry Silkin, former ROH owner and current ROH ambassador, where we talk about everything sex, drugs, rock and roll, and a retrospective of Kerry's life. So appreciate you checking in on Ian Riccaboni Opens Wrestling Stuff. We'll see you next time. Happy wrestling, everybody.